Hi, this is Jason Konopisos-Alvarez, the voice of Shockwave from Transformers 1, and you are listening to In Conversation with Amber Jones!
Hello, everybody. Amber here. Welcome back to In Conversation with ATF. This one is going to be a good one. I'm telling you that right now. My guest is an actor, a writer, a voice actor. You may know him as the voice of Shockwave in Transformers 1, and he is right here, Shockwave. He's right there as well. He's right there.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting which side it is. I think it's that if I'm pointing that way, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, there he is. He's only got I someone at TF Nation, someone actually gave me like a shockwave gun thing that you put on your hand saying, I can't be bothered to take this home with me. Do you want it? I'm like, yeah, sure. So do you want
Oh,
cosplay of
wow.
Shockwave? Maybe.
That's
Maybe.
awesome.
I'll have to send you a picture of it. You'll like it.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'll have to ask you to sign it if you ever come over to a TF
I
Nation.
will. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I just bought a nice silver metallic ink pen that will be perfect for it.
Ooh, oh yes, perfect, awesome. Not just Shockwave, my guess is also voice characters such as Ferro in Eyes of Wakanda, Congorilla and Helicopter Pilot in Creature Commandos, Warrior in Transformers, Warrior in Slayer's Return, Deathmaster in Sorcerer Hunters OVA, if you know what that means. Honestly, I've completely forgot the meaning, but I know it's something Japanese. Alban Lopez in Starfield. He was also, actually, here's another Transformers connection, William Lennox's stunt double in Dark of the Moon. Yes, he was the stunt double for now I'm gonna get this wrong. It was Josh Duhamel, right?
Yeah, that's it.
I
You got it right.
knew it. In the opening scene where they're in Chernobyl, yes, Jason's in that. And we're gonna talk a
Yeah.
little bit more about that today. Um, my guest is a writer. Jason is also a writer for short films and everything like that. And his other credits include King of the Hill, Prison Break, Muppets Most Wanted, Final Fantasy VII Remake, General Hospital, Blue Sea Beyond, and he's also related to Gregory Peck through his maternal grandmother, which I thought was quite a fun fact. My guest is Jason Konopisos-Alvarez. Hi.
Thanks for having me. I'm going to add one more that, like most people that know, it's kind of like a little hidden thing.
Uh-huh.
And you might have mentioned it because you like named a bunch of them, and that was like impressive. But at the opening of Transformers, when Oren Pax is running from the guard,
Yes. What?
yeah,
How did I
that's
not
me.
put that? Oh,
It
so
sneaks in there. You don't notice it because it's like Shockwave guard, and it
well.
looks like
What's
it's
this?
one.
I have a file. This is all written on a file. Oh, right. So I wrote all this on a file, but little did I know I had another tab open, literally just
Mm.
saying Jason Konopisos-Alvarez, Shockwave and God 1 in Transformers.
Yeah,
So it was on there. I
but
just don't know. I just
it's
erased
a
it.
nice little Easter egg because people are like, "Well, wait a second, you were that too." So kind of cool.
I must apologize. It just wasn't on
No,
the
no
list that I
apology
originally had.
necessary. It's better that it slipped by.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Jason, thank you so much for coming
My
on my
pleasure.
show. It's an absolute
Anytime.
pleasure. We've met before. We've met at TF Con and most
Hmm.
recently San Diego Comic Con at Symbiote Studios booth. But
Yes.
what I'm most intrigued about is not just obviously how you got into Transformers first, how you got into voiceover, because originally you started as a
Mhm.
stand-up comedian, if I remember from what I read
Yes.
online, maybe, and
Yeah,
you were born
originally,
in East
ori-
Virginia.
actually, Virginia Beach in
Virginia
Virginia,
Beach. Why
right
did I think
outside of
East Virginia?
DC. It's kind of,
Oh, right,
you know,
okay. I don't know
yeah.
where the East came from. I knew it was Virginia something, but yeah. I'd like to know, Jason, how you first got your start in the industry and how that sort of snowballed to
Well,
today.
I went to college. I believe you refer to it as university. Um, and after college, getting my degree in philosophy and psychology, I really didn't know what to do with myself. I got a corporate job for a big energy sector firm for about a week before I quit because I was like, I
Mm-hmm.
could never do this. My
Yep.
friends always had money, so I was like, I'll just go wait tables because they always have cash, and it's nice to have cash. And there was a comedy store across the street, so I started doing comedy, and then I saw an ad, and I kind of was dabbling in acting, and I saw an ad that said like $45 an hour for voice. And I was like,
Ooh.
and this was in, way back in the early 1900s. So $45 an hour was a lot of money. So I was like, oh, I'll go do that. And it was for this little dubbing company for Japanime. And I signed up. I ended up doing a couple films for them. Now, what they don't tell you is they're going to, basically give you $45, but then they're going to completely uh, wreck your voice by having you do voices that are just crazy and loud and exerting your voices. So then after that, a couple years later, I got cast in Idiocracy, and from that, Mike Judge asked me to do King of the Hill, and that kind of started me in the voiceover world because predominantly I was an on-camera actor.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I like that. I like that. And I'm presuming the way you got Shockwave was you were given an audition. I presume. I mean, I'll let you tell the
I
story.
I honestly could not tell you. I got a call. Well, what some people don't realize is sometimes they'll audition you for animation stuff or video games to
Hmm.
kind of get an idea of the voice that they may use. They'll audition, but then they make the animation or the game. And so literally years can go by before they decide to actually hire you to do it.
Yeah.
And also there's a lot of Transformers projects. And also when you do projects like this, a lot of times they want to be secretive about it. So they'll give you lines that are like not listed as the character. They don't sound like the characters, and the project is not it's not titled Transformers. So you might get a project that's called, Robot Wars, and the character is Bumpy the Robot, and you read it and you have no idea what you're actually. Sometimes you can figure it out, but it was, you know, late 2023, and I just got a call from my agent, who I love, Sandy Schneer at AVO, and she said, I am, uh, you are up for a project. You don't have it yet, but you're going through network or studio approval, which means the executive's got to vet you, make sure you're not like a criminal. Um, you'll know soon, uh, but I can't tell you anything about it. And I was like, what? Like, and she calls me back the next day and she says it's for Transformers. And I had no memory of even
Ooh.
reading. I didn't know if I knew I had read for other Transformers projects, but I didn't know if it was this one. And then she tells me Shockwave, and I was just like, I was stunned because I thought, oh, okay, they'll probably have me read for like, a small character. And then when she said Shockwave, I was just like blown away. And in quite not to make a pun out of it, but I was in shock. So that's how it happened. And hopefully, I have a screening September 17th of a movie called The Unexpected, which is a live action film where I play the bad guy. And I might see Josh Cooley there. And if I see him, I'm gonna be like, we never talked. Like, how did I get cast for this? I will say I remember him saying that he knew me from Idiocracy.
Hmm.
So maybe that's it, because sometimes people see somebody in a role and they remember and they say, "Oh, I'd like to
Yeah.
bring him in." So who
Hmm.
knows? There's a mystery to it, which is kind of nice.
Ooh, very mysterious. Absolutely, I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. I love it. And
Yeah.
well, not your first dabble in Transformers. We've got to talk about this. You
Okay.
were obviously the stunt double for Josh Duhamel in Dark of the Moon for the opening
Yeah.
series. So, all these years later, did you think that you would end up being in an animated Transformers film doing a voiceover and not a live action role?
No. I mean,
Okay.
it's a huge dream come true, and a dream that I never knew I could dream, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. Like,
Yeah.
um, it was such a like Transformers was such a big part of my childhood that it was kind of like out there.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you a funny story that connects to that in a second. But
Okay.
it was just like something. It would be like if I said to you, Amber, uh, in 5 years you're going to be living on Mars. You would be like, what? Like,
What?
yeah, it's a cool thing, but like right now you can't even imagine that's something that you could aspire to because it's so like out there. So um I was asked to do this part, and it was funny enough, from my understanding from somebody else, because I haven't seen the movie in a while, it's when Shockwave attacks, and I'm running through like concrete slabs and jumping over pieces of broken concrete. And they had me in this suit. It was like a hazmat suit with like a big tank, and I had like a real, it wasn't firing, but like a real metal gun that was weighed like 30 pounds. And I'm
Ooh.
running.
Mm-hmm.
And when I would do that, my mask would fog up. So they said, well, the only way to do this is we have to shut off the oxygen. So so I ran, and I would say the run was maybe like 100 feet, maybe 120 feet. So I
Mm-hmm.
run, and they're literally like, Michael Bay is up on this crane, shoot it like so high up in,
Mm-hmm.
and he's shooting down, and I'm running. And so what the stunt guy has to do is he has to run all the way to the end with me,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
turn on my gas mask, and then I have to run back to the beginning and then do it again. And because they're so high up and it takes so long for them to set up again, Bay was just like, just keep doing it. So I was like running, and I did it. I did it once to set up, and
Mm-hmm.
then I did it another time to like work out some kinks, and then I did it, I think, 19 more times. And I
Wow.
think it was like 12 in a row and then like 7 in a row. And I was, because I'm at the end of it, all my oxygen's gone. And I'm like dying. And then when we were done, they took the mask off and like took the hazmat suit off. I kid you not, when they took my boots, they like poured my boots. And and keep in mind, like I know it sounds like a lot, like, you know, like 20 runs, but
Yeah.
this was only like 10 minutes of filming. Maybe less. Maybe it was like 7 minutes. So in that time, I sweated so much because it was like so hot. But it's kind of cool because I had forgot about that because it was one day of work and it was a long time ago. And even though I'm a Transformers fan, and I would mention when the movie was on and people were watching, I would be like, "Oh, I'm, the double in that scene." But I didn't, like, my mind just like didn't connect. And then I was doing an interview with I think it was Dimiacon, and he was like, "Do you know that you kind of like have come full circle by being attacked by Shockwave and then becoming Shockwave?" And I was like, my mind was blown, and I was like, "What?" And so it's kind of feels like a little cosmic like connection on it.
Does indeed. It
No.
does indeed. I love that. I absolutely love that. I don't think there are a lot of people who have been in the live action Bayverse film and played a live action character and then actually gone on to voice a transformer. I don't think that's happened. It only happened maybe once with you, of course. I have no idea.
Maybe I can be a stunt performer, a voiceover performer, and eventually a live action performer in the
Oh,
future.
yeah,
Fingers
yeah.
crossed. If you're
Fingers
listening, Michael
crossed.
Bay, if you're listening,
Bring back Jason.
yeah,
So going to the premiere of Transformers One, what was it like to finally sort of hear yourself on the big screen? Like, you know how you saw yourself on the big screen with Dark on the Moon?
yeah.
Now you're hearing
So
yourself.
I went to a screening. We had a public premiere where they invited a lot of press and creators, but before that we had a private screening on Paramount, which, is cool to just be on the lot because there's so much history. But it was with the director, Jason Shear, or the director Josh Cooley, the art Jason Shear, and then, you know, the the producers, and it was, I don't even know what to say. I hate to keep using this word, but it was like surreal and crazy. Like the first one was when I heard me and the guard voice. I was like, okay, that's me. And then my wife was with me, and it was funny. There was a kid next to me and his dad, and they were big Transformers fans. And after the screening, we were walking out, and I was like, "What'd you think?" And they were like, "We liked it." And they're like, "What did you think?" And at that time, the casting director had walked by and was like, "Hey, Shockwave," and the dad and the son were like, "What? What?" And she was like, "Yeah, he's Shockwave," and they were like, "Wait, you're," and the guy was like, "We were sitting next to Shockwave the whole time." It was it was surreal. It was a blast. Um,
Aw.
you know, it's
Hmm.
I don't know what else to say because it's like I'm almost speechless of like how awesome an experience it was.
That's adorable. I absolutely love that. Moving on real quick to your Gregory Peck story. I'm
Oh,
quite intrigued about this. Did you ever
yeah.
get to meet him? Because I believe he died in
No.
2003. You did? Oh no.
No, this is like family lore. So my
Ooh.
grandmother's name is Arlene Peck,
Mm-hmm.
and they always said that she was third cousins from Gregory Peck, and she had shown me letters that she had written to him,
Wow.
and her all of our family, we have a big long book, genealogy book that was made, and he is in there. I've never I never got the chance to meet him, never confirmed if it's true. But the way things are, he's a distant cousin, and we're sort of all, if you look at it, we're all sort of connected. You always hear the genealogies of people, and if you go far back enough, you're connected with random people that you would never expect.
Yeah,
But never got to meet him, sadly.
that's a shame. But honestly, I think
Yeah,
that is also another full circle moment. Only because, right?
yeah.
So did you grow up watching G1 Transformers?
Yes,
Okay.
I grew up stressing about getting home from school in time to make the opening of the show. I think it started at 2:30 when I live, or no, started at 3 where I lived,
Mm-hmm.
and I got off at school at 2:30.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I had like a half hour to get home to be able to watch it. Because back in my day, once it was gone, you would never see that episode again.
No,
So,
no.
yeah, I was a big G1 kid. I was kind of spoiled in that sense because my grandparents got me a lot of the Transformers and I
Aw.
cherished them. And I'm so sad that I kept a couple that I really loved. But as I got older, when you graduate college and you need some money, you're like, all right, I'm gonna sell my toys and I'll buy them back one day when I have money. And then you
Mm-hmm.
regret that because
Yeah.
there's nothing like having the
Yeah.
original toys that you had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can relate. I can. Well, the only reason why I asked that is because the character of Hook, who was voiced by Neil Ross, when
Hmm.
I interviewed him, he said, I was like, who did you base Hook's voice on? Because it sounds like such and such. And he was like, it's my failed impression of Gregory Peck.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And then I
Oh,
think the
that's
same
funny.
goes for Frank Welker when he voiced Mirage, I think.
Oh,
But
I've
yeah,
actually, yeah, I've heard that. That's funny. That's so funny.
yeah, I just really like to know. What did you say you actually heard something?
Just I had heard somebody talk about trying to do a Gregory Peck impression and then using that for a character. I don't know who it was. Maybe it was them, but I had heard that before. It's kind of a, uh, you know, maybe it's a maybe I'd heard that story, or maybe it's just a common thing that people are like, "Ooh, I'll do a little Gregory Peck here for this."
I love that. I love that. Now, these next three questions are actually from a Discord server that I'm in. I'm in a server
Okay.
full of people from TF Nation.
Okay. Cool. Very cool.
So if you go, you get the invite. That's the rules. But Jason, well, speaking of TF Nation, first of all, would you like to ever do a TF Nation? Because I know we just had Evan Michael Lee, the voice of Jazz, over. Maybe
Yeah,
getting a plane on a permanent
Evan's
level.
actually a really good buddy of mine, and
Mm-hmm.
I was a little sad because us together are we love to joke around, and we've done several cons together, and they've always been fun. So I was a little sad that I couldn't do it with him. But next year and every year, I would love to do TF Nation. I love conventions and I love the fans so much. I honestly would do it every single year. Um, so if they want me, I will be there. And Frank Tedora and I actually talked about how cool would that be, because we're also very close. How cool would that be for us to go together? And that would be awesome. We'd love that.
It definitely would. Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
love that. I'd love that.
The
Definitely.
problem is, y'all might not be able to get rid of me. I might just want to stay there forever.
Well, some people stay until the Monday, so that does that will fit in nicely. But these three questions are from people that I know. So Receptor asks, he says, greetings from a shallow, from a fellow Shockwave VA. Oh, you said a shallow Shockwave VA.
Oh, nice.
Um, how much input did Hasbro give you for the character history of Shockwave in the various forms of media he has been in to help give you an idea for his voice in Transformers One?
So after I was cast, we recorded pretty quickly afterwards. And, it becomes incumbent on the actor. I knew what was incumbent on me. And I instantly started looking at all the iterations. And Josh had conveyed to me sort of the world and, uh, and the fact that they wanted us to be clear that this was before the influences of Earth. And, I knew that there had to be a distinction in the voice. Uh, and so I came up with this whole history in my head of, he, if you listen to him, he has a hint of sort of the mid-Atlantic, but it's, I didn't want to do it a lot, and I didn't want to be too, even though I would in future, if this story kept going, I would definitely, pay respects to the original, but I wanted to put the ability to make an arc. And my vision was, as they are, starting to interact with Earth and Shockwave still on Cybertron, like getting transmissions. I imagine him in his laboratory doing like some horrible experiment and getting a transmission of like an old 1950s, you know,
Yeah.
movie about a mad scientist and kind of
Yeah.
emulating that and like in a sort of funny tongue-in-cheek manner, like emulating that voice and being like adapting that into his. So I wanted to
Yeah.
have it like, and if you listen to the voice that I do, it's almost like if you strip away the emotion and everything
Mm-hmm.
and kind of distill it into this kind of like very logical, very, you know, and that's kind of the fun backstory. I don't know if they would ever use something like that, but that's what I imagine. And that's how I came to it. So,
Great, awesome. Well, Krisha asks, which other Transformers or character would you like to voice?
oh my gosh, I've been asked this so much. And and the crazy thing is, the more I get asked it, the more I think about it, and the more it's like, if you really love candy and you go into a candy store, or like me, I really love ice cream. And so when I go into my favorite ice cream store, McConnell's, I'm
Hmm.
like, ooh, I want this. Oh, but that's good. Oh, but you know what's really good? Oh, but that's my old favorite. Oh, but this is a new flavor. And that's what I do because, like, the first time I was ever asked this, I said, you know, there's ones that I've always loved, like Starscream, which would be like such an honor to play. But like at the same time, I'm like, the people that do Starscream right now, like Frank, like they're so
Yeah.
amazing at it. They're so
Yeah.
amazing at it that I don't think that I could do it the justice they do.
Mm-mm.
So there's that category. There's the voices that I've always like since I was a kid. Like Starscream was such an awesome voice character. And then there's you know, God, like there's toys that I personally like love. So then I have that connection. Like Jetfire was like one of my favorite toys.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like connected to him, and then Hound. to give you an answer, like I'm honored to play Shockwave, and I kind of want to just play Shockwave forever because I'm greedy. But
Oh,
to play any of these characters is a real honor for me, and I quite honestly don't know how to pick. So the simple answer is Jetfire. The complex answer is any and all of the characters because and also it's a challenge, like um doing different voices, especially that are more off the spectrum of uh my typical voice.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, that makes total sense. I love that answer. I love how you the coast complex. I love it. It's not the answer I was expecting at all, but I love it.
What was the answer that you thought?
Just one character. I didn't expect a
No.
complex answer, and then
Oh yeah.
I love it. I love you're doing well, Jason. You dinging it out the what is it? Ball out the park. There we go. I couldn't
Oh,
think of
nice.
it. Couldn't think of it then for a second. Krisha also asks, and if you could transform, what would you like to transform into? What would your alt mode be?
Okay, me personally or Shockwave?
I'd love to hear both.
Oh,
Oh no,
okay.
because that makes total sense because there's something to do with transform your alt mode or something that Transformers are doing, and people have selected
Yeah,
Shockwave through votes, and it's going to be a sea creature, a sea ocean, so it could be a vehicle, it could be an animal, I don't know.
yeah.
But yeah, that makes total sense. What
Yeah,
would
I
you
was
transform into, and what would you like Shockwave's new alt form to be?
so me personally, if I could transform into anything, I would probably transform into a tiger because
Oh, that's a good
I
one.
love cats. I have four uh roommates
Oh,
that happen to be four-legged roommates. Um,
wow.
my children, and actually you can't see, but several times they've crossed back here behind the throne room. Um, and one almost came in because they always like to make cameos. But I would say a tiger
Hmm.
would be my personal alt form. Shockwave's alt form, and when they had that poll, I was like really kind of looking at it and like I was surprised people said C, but
Because people want it's only because that's this big thing about people want Spino Shockwave. People want Shockwave to be a Spinosaurus, which is like a fan made concept. They want it to be real or
yeah,
something like that. I'm not entirely sure the whole story, but that's just what I've been told.
I
I'm
would say
hoping for an
going
anglerfish.
yeah, I would say going off the C
Mm-hmm.
thing, I think he should be a like a high speed deep sea submarine
Oh, that's a good
because
one.
where is the best place to conduct like experiments that are a little bit, questionable? It
Yeah,
would be the deep sea. That's the hardest place to get to on
yeah,
this planet.
yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm. Sweet, sweet.
yeah.
Leonardo wants to know. Well, first of all, he says, honestly, I loved his version of Shockwave. It felt fresh and nostalgic to me all at once. Oh, and especially when he was unconscious, in reference to B being gagged, made me howl in the cinema. I'd love to know how he mentally got into character to do Shockwave. That always intrigues me with voice actors. I remember seeing excuse me, a promo for one of the Sonic films behind the scenes where Idris Elba was wearing Knuckles gloves to help him stay in character for Knuckles. So how did you get into character to voice Shockwave?
So my process was just I watched a lot of G1 clips and kind of like thought about him in this world
Mm-hmm.
like before I knew him, and like also I had to, kind of uh put a rationale behind who this character was before he got rid of his, emotions. And
Mm-hmm.
um, I said, if someone gets rid of their emotions, it's probably because they their emotions are crippling them. And
Yeah.
what's the most crippling emotion but anger? And like so many people that are highly intelligent, you know, they can sometimes have a hard time with um, all the, idiosyncrasies and simple problems of the world because it seems so simple to them that this is the way things should be done.
Yeah.
Ergo, him moving into pure logic and being like that. So I imagine this guy who's kind of like frustrated, um, constantly frustrated with literally everything around. So he's on edge. Like
Yeah.
everything has him a little bit on edge, which eventually pushes him to like sort of detach from that. So that's kind of, I don't know if that answers the question, but that's sort of what I was
Does.
thinking about.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, because it's weird because I've noticed with Shockwave quite a bit. In G1, of course, Corey Burton gives him a sort of David Warner-esque voice, whereas
Yes.
in a lot of modern versions, like for a David Sobolov in Prime, he gives him a sort of like sort of deep tone scientist sort of
Yeah.
like voice, like with an American accent.
Mhm.
A lot of them do. It's only really in I think it's only G1 and Bumblebee movie maybe that he has the sort of David Warner-esque voice.
Mhm.
The rest of them are just completely own takes. And
Yeah.
I'd love more of that sort of like David Warner Shockwave to be fair. But absolutely love your take on the character as well. I think it's absolutely hilarious. I think all iterations of Shockwave are, very special in their own way, of course. And I think Shockwave is the character that got the most laughs out of me when I saw it in the cinema.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Now I've gotta mention this. Now Creature Commandos. Now you were in an episode. Now this makes me all giddy to mention it. Now only because, right, the voice director for Creature Commandos is Charlie Adler. Did you
Yeah.
wait, did he voice direct you for it?
Yeah, absolutely he did. And what's funny is I knew Charlie before. I've taken classes with Charlie.
Oh really? Me
And
too.
yeah, and so that he's amazingly talented.
Yes.
And it's one thing to take classes direction from somebody who, knows it, but there's another thing when somebody they're knowledgeable, but also they have the ability themselves.
Hmm.
Um, and he's such a good teacher. He's such a good director. Um, it was a really awesome experience because a lot of times when you go in to record, I'm a nervous person.
Hmm.
Even though I might not exude that on the outside, I'm very nervous. I'm very like, I struggle from, feelings of inadequacy and
Yeah.
like we all do, or most of us. I'm sure there's people that don't or don't think they do.
Hmm.
Um, so when I did not know, but when I got into the meeting and I saw his name on the little Zoom, I was like, "Oh my gosh." And and it and it popped on, and as you know, I know a lot of people listening might not know Charlie or might not have listened to him, but a he's like a he's like a bunny rabbit that had like a rainbow stuffed inside of him and he's just
Uh-huh.
about ready to like explode with joy. He's just a really dynamic, beautiful person. And when you're in a situation where you have anxiety and you're presented with this person that has that energy, it kind of blows all that off of you.
Yeah.
And then, he's a great director, so I felt very safe and at home, and I felt like we did something really fun with the scene. Um, and I mean, he's just great to work with, and he's an amazing, and I have such admiration for him as a voice actor. So it's like, he really makes you want to do your best because you look
Yeah.
up to him. So anyway, yeah, that was awesome experience. And like the Zoom call, it was cool because like the Zoom call was like I'm in the studio, but there's like a, monitor with like little squares from the Zoom and like I can see Charlie and I can see a couple other people, but then there are a lot of squares that were blocked out. And one of the squares that was blocked out was James Gunn, and I was just like, now I don't know if
Ooh.
he was there. It could have been his office, like an assistant or something, or somebody else, another producer using his computer. But it said, I can't remember if it said James Gunn or Jay Gunn or Gunn, but I was like, I might be being watched by James Gunn, and I'm a huge fan of his.
Mhm.
So it was, I was bursting inside.
Mate, you have a lot more courage than me. I would not have been able to cope at
I
all. That is
know.
just like, oh my God, just well, that would have been. Oh, I want to live in LA now. I want to do animation. I want to do everything. Man, I want to spend a few months in LA. That will happen someday in the next few years. I hope.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, just like, man, dude, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. You got me smiling now. Oh, it's big smiles all the way around. Wow. Okay. So your other projects like Starfield and Eyes of Wakanda and all these Japanese dubs that you've these Japanese animes that
Mhm.
you've dubbed over. What was it like to sort of do them as well? I know the main emphasis on this interview has been Shockwave, but I'd love to sort of touch on your other bits of I'm so sorry. I'd
Yeah,
like
no
to sort
worries.
of touch on your other bits of your career as well. There we go. Got it out in one mouthful.
So I'll go real quick. Creature Commandos was a dream, was in studio at the Cartoon Network studios, which are now sadly gone, but I get to record there. It was a
Wait,
great,
Cartoon Network. So you recorded Creature Commandos at Cartoon Network that used to be in Burbank.
yeah, they had studios there.
Wow.
I guess they like rented a studio
Well,
there.
how long ago did you do that? Because I'm pretty sure they were yeah. Because I went to the studio last year and it had already
Yeah.
closed. So would this
That
have been
was
like?
that was 2023. I did it the same week that I did Transformers.
Oh right,
So let
okay,
me
okay. I'm caught up to
so let
speed.
me tell you a crazy story.
Uh-huh.
I had in March I had done a live action film
Mm-hmm.
um in New Mexico that I was very proud of, The Unexpecteds, coming out October 14th. But I and we have a screening, a special screening September 14th. So one lucky fan, if you hit me up, follow me on Instagram. If you're in LA, I'll bring you to the screening and the after party
Ooh.
as my guest. So basically, I um, we were getting pretty close to striking. There was a lot of like talk about striking,
Oh yeah, because I
and to
was the
be
same. Yeah.
yeah, and it had been about 5 months or so since I had done that movie. So I was on the high of doing this movie for a month, and then like no work, like zero work.
Mm-hmm.
And then my agent called me on it, and like if you book something in a month or 2 months, it's like it's good.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
It's
Working,
okay.
working, uh, working actors don't work as much as people would think. So if you're
No.
working every month, that's good. If you're working 6 times a year, that's good. Um, so I got a call from my agent and she told me about the Transformers thing and I was over the moon, but I didn't know what it was yet. I just knew I had something big and I was pretty sure
Yeah.
to get it. She
Uh-huh.
calls me back a half hour later and was like, I have a booking for you. And I was like, oh, great. Can you tell me what it was now? And she goes, no, it's something else. And I was like, what? Two bookings in one day? My head was like exploding. Like,
Wow.
and then an hour later, my other agent called and was like, I have a booking for you on a series as a recurring. And so in one day, I got three bookings, which was pretty crazy.
What
And
was the other booking for?
that was Congorilla and then a soap opera.
Oh, soap
Um,
opera. Okay.
yeah, so and then Transformers all in one
That's
day.
awesome. Wow.
Yeah, so
Living the
to talk,
dream.
yeah, I'm very lucky. It was a lucky day. So, um, the Eyes of Wakanda actually was shot during the pandemic, and I
Hmm.
shot that in my closet at my house because, nobody could come into studio and all that.
No, no, not at
So
all.
I
No.
So that actually has been the one that I recorded the longest ago. And it was great. Like I really liked the director. He was one of the visual artists for the original Black Panther. Todd Harris, I believe is his name. Sorry if I'm getting that wrong. Um, and it was great. It was very a very quick shoot, but like Congorilla and Transformers, I enjoyed it. I loved the direction, and I loved the series. If you haven't seen the Eyes of Wakanda, it's a beautifully made series. And the one thing about it, it left me going, God, I want to see, I want more of this world. I want more. I don't just want an anthology of short stories. I want like a whole arc.
Yeah.
Um, Going back to the Japanime was really fun,
Japanime,
but
I like that.
yeah, but the dubbing, or I guess it's called anime now, but back in the day, we used to call it Japanime.
It's
I don't
awesome.
know. Maybe that's not like an accepted term. If it's not, I don't mean to offend anyone. Um, but it was cool because I enjoyed all these series, but there's when you're just dubbing, um, and it's very demanding quite often. There's like sometimes it's like very strenuous on your voice and you're yelling.
Yeah.
And they want you to do, they're trying to get you to do as much as you can in a short period. And that can be not just hard, but it actually can be dangerous on your voice. So that
Yeah.
wasn't,
Yeah.
and also, the it was like it wasn't in LA, it was like in middle America, and like the directors weren't necessarily knowledgeable about directing. They were people that were just kind of like hired to get these voices. They didn't have experience in doing voiceover and stuff like that. So it's a different environment. It's a little less safe. It's a
Yeah.
little less nurturing than working with somebody like Charlie who's like, knows what it is and knows how to get it
Yeah.
out of you.
Hmm.
Um, and then there's the other side of the spectrum where, King of the Hill was very unique because it was a show that all the voice actors would be in one room together, which is kind of,
Oh.
yeah, so that's really unique way of making it.
Yeah.
But for me, it was also a little bit like nerve-wracking because it's like, you know, I'm in this room with people I really respect, and like everybody messes up, but like the pressure is definitely on. Um, and then there's just so many different like aspects of all the projects. Every project is very different. But that's kind of like generally, I've had very good experiences in my career working, especially in voiceover. I've been very blessed. Starfield was great. Starfield was interesting because I had so many lines.
Hmm.
I think I had almost 600 lines, which
Wow.
isn't huge for a video game, but it's pretty big for a tertiary character or a
Yeah.
side mission character. And we knocked that out in, I want to say, like 3 hours. So
Yeah.
it was intensive and quick, but it was really well done. Um,
Yeah.
and I like the game, so uh,
Awesome.
yeah. So that's
Sweet.
kind of my experience.
When you went to the private screening of Transformers 1 and
Hmm.
the official sort of premiere, did you ever meet any of the bigger cast members? So Brian Tyree Henry, Keegan Michael Key, Steve Buscemi?
No, sadly, the biggest one I met was Isaac Singleton Jr., and by big I mean he literally is big.
Red
Um,
Wing. I've
uh,
met him. Yeah, he was at TFCon when you were. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, he's a buddy. He's a great guy, very talented. No, unfortunately, around the time we were doing the screening, Scarlett Johansson was fully immersed in um, the Jurassic film, so she wasn't able to do very much of the promotion. And uh, Keegan and uh,
Chris
uh,
Hemsworth.
Chris Helmsworth. I'm sorry, my brain's like fried.
That's okay, don't
Every,
worry.
Everybody else, I believe, was in Australia doing the Australian premiere.
Yeah, the premiere was big, obviously, I think, because Chris is
Yeah,
Australian, I think, so they sort of made that like the main premiere instead of like LA or
yeah.
London or something like that.
So
It's a
I
bit
didn't
odd,
get to
but
meet.
I suppose.
Yeah, sadly, I didn't get to meet them, but I would love to one day because I
Yeah,
admire their work, and
yeah,
hopefully we'll meet on a
yeah.
Transformers
Fingers crossed.
too.
Yay! Hopefully, maybe, hopefully. Just
Yeah.
depends what Josh says. When you went to Cartoon Network, to record Creature Commandos,
Mhm.
did you go down the stairway? Because I've seen online there's pictures and all over the walls of the stairway there's just cartoons just drawn by people. Did
No,
you
I
find
didn't.
that?
I didn't see that at all. I went through the front door, and then there was a booth like really
Ah, right. Okay.
close. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was across from like the cafeteria area,
Ah,
like right
right. Okay.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that makes perfect sense. Final question to you, Jason.
Mhm.
What's your favorite color?
Oh my gosh. Well, my favorite color used to be blue,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
but now I think my favorite color is
Purple. Shockwave
yeah,
purple. Love it.
yeah,
Love it, love it, love it, love it. And he's got a little gun here. I love this little. I just love how he has like just a gun for a hand. Like he just has one functioning hand. Well, this is the
yeah.
G1. I don't know why he has a gold eye though. I don't
I
get it.
know, I wondered that. Maybe they felt like visually it was the closest to the yellow.
Probably. I mean, it could have made it black. Oh wait. Oh no, because I think these are based on the toys, the G1
Oh,
toys, and not the TV series. I think because Soundwave's got like yellow eyes, and he looks nothing like the G1, the cartoon version of him.
yeah.
Um, but honestly, Jason, thank you so much for the lovely chat. I'd love to do a part two with you in the future. If I'd say maybe a couple months down the line. Yeah, yeah, I'd be down for it. Is there anything you'd like to promote? Anything here? What's your social media? Have you got a website? I'll leave it up to you.
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter under my name. I would love for y'all to reach out and follow me on Instagram. And I always love followers. I always try to reply to everybody. If you have a question, feel free to hit me up. I will say, like, don't even, I have one fan who like emails me a lot. Sometimes I can't get back to you right away.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I love to hear from fans and I do interact. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and project wise, October 14th on iTunes, The Unexpecteds with
Mm-hmm.
Matt Walsh and Francisco
Ooh.
Ramos, Chelsea Rondon, um, John Kaler, and Jerry Bednob. Great cast. Sonia Smith, directed by Alejandro Montoya Marin. Also, Alejandro De Hoyos is one of the stars of the film and
Wow.
produced it. And it's going to be really fun. We're having a premiere September 14th. Kevin Smith is the EP. And it's a fun project. And, I'd love to share it with y'all. And the other thing is, for those of you who are gamers, there's a card game. It's been called the love child of chess meets magic in a sci-fi horror universe. It's called
Ooh.
the Nixlands of Havoc. Check it out. You can find links to it on my Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a fun card game. We just were at Strategicon, and I would love for y'all to try it.
Nice. Awesome. Well, I'll get your links in the description to you at home. Thank you ever so much for watching this episode of In Conversation with ATF, featuring the lovely Jason Konopisos-Alvarez. I hope you liked it as much as I did recording it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in a future episode or anywhere down the line. Okay? Take care. Adios. Bye. And cut.